Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast Channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Bi-Weekly Report with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.
So, introductions. To my left is Darius Thompson, Vice Chair. To my right is Dave Short. My name is Dwayne Staples. I am currently the chairperson. I'd like to welcome all of you who are watching tonight, and I just want to apologize for the technical difficulty that we had last month. That was on my end, so we couldn't have the meeting. I would, if it's okay with the trustees, I would like to deviate from the agenda a little bit because our select board rep has an obligation that he has to get to, so he may need to leave during the meeting. And I know that the both of you have talked to me about things that you want to add on to the agenda, and I think that, Nico, you would need to answer those, or you would need to be involved with that conversation. Okay. And then an update on the siphon project. So let's do the siphon project first, please.
How up to speed are you?
I only know that they're on the other side of the river now. Okay. That's all I know.
So I'm going to, I've been briefed on this as recently as Monday. I'm actually just going to read the memo from our Public Works Director that was shared with us Monday night by Paul Vlasic, Town Engineer. And I usually don't read things during meetings, but the reason I'm going to read it is because it's so technical that I want everybody to understand, and I don't want to leave anything out. So, on May 2nd, the sewer siphons project drilling subcontractor began drilling an exploratory probe using a paddle bit. This probe, which occurred at the original plan elevation, was performed to ascertain if any other ledge outcroppings exist between Swasey Parkway and the known outcropping on the mill side of the river. On May 7th, the probe reached the known mill side ledge, confirming that no additional ledge outcroppings exist between that location and the Swasey Parkway. On May 8th, the paddle bit was adjusted both horizontally and vertically in an attempt to find a path over the ledge outcropping. This effort proved unsuccessful after several attempts. The exploratory probe was then removed from the river. Based on the findings, the general plan for the next phase of the work is to bore from the mill side of the river with a 6-inch rock bit to establish a pilot hole through the ledge outcropping. This hole will then be reamed to a diameter of 12 inches. Once enlarged, the paddle bit will be inserted through the bored hole, and drilling will proceed until it reaches Swasey Parkway. It is anticipated that the hole bored through the ledge will need to be enlarged to 18 inches prior to siphon pipe installation. At the current time, procedures and schedules are still being developed by the contractor. Additionally, town staff is meeting with all of the abutters, particularly the Housing Authority, and also on the mill side, as we have done, to keep the public, particularly the abutters, up to date with what's going on, the level of noise. My understanding is that this will be a little bit louder on the mill side.
The project, so that would bring it somewhere into September. Is that is that about correct, or are we
based
really not
upon
sure?
the schedule, excuse me, and what what is going to transpire now? That would be an estimated time. However, they're still working through that.
Okay.
What I will say is that what the select board has done is similar to what we were doing last year in the wintertime. This is going to be an ongoing thing on the agenda. Every select board meeting will be leading off with a siphon update. So, folks will be able to, to tune into the select board meetings. I know Bob has been putting them in his biweekly newsletter.
Yep.
And as we get solid, concrete information and dates and all of that, we're putting it on the website. So we're being, completely transparent.
Yep.
But right now, I can only give an estimate that sounds
Sure.
about right.
Sure. Anybody else have any questions?
Two questions. I'm guessing they're probably doing this because they want to shorten the drill shaft for the tough drilling, because there's a lot less torque, or there's a lot more torque
Right.
the further out you are.
Right.
Is that what they're trying to do?
Correct.
Go through the hard stuff first.
Right.
And so if they're going to be primarily working from the other side, can they tighten up the equipment storage area here?
I can get back to you on that. I don't know the answer to that, but I can find out.
Okay. Because it's taken up,
I know.
it seems to grow, keep growing.
I know. And I know it's summertime and, there'll be things happening in the Parkway.
Yeah.
I can get you an answer on that.
Okay.
Darius?
Nothing.
Okay. All right, thank you. So I'm going to lead off. Dave, you had something that you wanted to add to the agenda, so go
Well,
ahead.
it actually kind of falls under the minutes from the joint meeting. When we had the joint meeting, the committee that was going to be put together was going to have a trustee, a select board member, as well as town staff. Any idea what the inception?
Which committee is this?
Oh, I'm sorry, for Swasey.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got a couple of different committees going together at the same time, so.
Any idea when this is going to be initiated, I guess?
We have not done anything since our meeting, because of, this thing, complicating things or prolonging things. We also agreed that we were gonna bring the trustees back. Again, we talked about, you had brought up flooding and all of that. We talked about, we could do two things at once.
Right.
So I think that once we move forward, I anticipate that it would be town staff to begin with, along with a member of the select board, member of the trustees, and start with town staff, and as we start to go forward and get a couple of different plans and ideas, and then we would consider bringing in members of the public.
Okay.
Similar to what's going on right now with the Rec Advisory Committee. There was a grant that was received for Planet Playground that passed on the warrant, and right now there's a subcommittee of the Rec Advisory Committee working with respective town staff and one or two volunteers to try to get a preliminary idea of how that's going to work, and then once that's done, then Phase 2 is going to bring in as many volunteers as we can to get that going. So I would anticipate it'd be something similar.
So the Swasey group, or whatever you want to call it, is effectively on hold for the moment.
Right now, we talked about getting the 3 or 4 different options that we were going to discuss and then bring you back to a select board meeting. I think it's premature to get a group together yet. There's nothing really to meet on yet.
But no design options, or no engaging anybody for design options yet?
We paused that, remember?
Yeah, you did
we had
pause
that
that.
conversation.
Okay,
Correct.
good. Yeah, I just, so that's still on hold until?
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
good.
All right,
Just a point of inquiry that we have a joint meeting on the 28th, which is the day after Memorial Day. Is that still scheduled for the Swasey trustees and the select board, or is that going to change now, given?
I think that's going to change given the siphon, but more importantly, we have 2 other things that I think will be on the agenda. I don't like to load up the agenda, and these 2 things that I'm anticipating will be on the agenda will be timely. And I try not to get 3 or 4 big, discussion items. It's not fair to folks to have to sit here through 10, 11 o'clock.
that would be fine with me.
Okay. Duly noted.
So that was the next leading question. So we will not be meeting.
So why don't we'll make the decision right now that on the 28th, we will not be having a joint
Okay.
meeting. And then, Mr. Chair, you and I can talk and you can speak with your members. We can get maybe some dates for June.
Sure, sure. That
Okay.
would work a little bit
I
better.
think it'd work better for the board, too.
Okay, great.
Great, thank you.
Everybody okay with that?
Dave. Good by me.
That's fine.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Dave, on that?
Nope.
Okay.
All right.
Darius, you had some things.
So officially, that we're here is just wanted to inquire about how the location was determined for the, I think, much-needed marker. It's part of the Black Heritage Trail, and I think that, we're all for that. But in the depiction of in the article, it looked like the garden that's been maintained by a volunteer that may or may not have been known to Kristen and others, but the volunteer that's taking care of that park for 12 years, put in a lot of time, effort, and energy. I just don't know if that person was contacted or if it was known that they could have reached out to that person and say, hey, we want to put a marker here. We're not going to change anything, or, we'd like to consult, whatever. But I just think that's an opportunity to acknowledge the work that Mark has done and taking care of that. It's done an exceptional job, and that the marker is just there to be part of history. I think we're all in favor of having a marker, but I think it was a missed opportunity to acknowledge that someone's taking care of that. Makes a great entrances to the park with the flagpole and everything else that's there. So that was my only observation.
Okay, thank you. Was there a question?
The question is, I would hope that there's an opportunity that could be acknowledged that someone's taking care of that for that
Sure.
that location, and that nothing's really going to change physically with the plant material that's there. It's well-established, well-maintained, perennials. It looks beautiful. It comes up. It has, they color every month throughout the whole season, and it's something that's been maintained by a volunteer that hopefully that will still retain what's there.
Sure.
Well, you're acknowledging that right now.
I am.
And why don't
yes.
we just say, Mark Damsel?
Yes, Mark Damsel, yes. So
Yeah.
brought it to my attention, Mark. I didn't know that you were taking care of that. I just wanted to say thank you for educating me, and we'll say this much. I now pay more attention to that entrance, and it is beautiful. I thank you for everything you've done for the skill and your ability to have things in bloom throughout the whole growing season. And I just wanted to say thank you, and hopefully that we all know that while it was a missed opportunity, I wanted to say thank you personally.
It's my pleasure.
Do you have any public comment on that, Mark?
Yeah, Mark William Damsel. It's my pleasure that I've been doing that, maintaining the entrance of the Swasey Parkway on the left-hand side of the garden. Me and a bunch of volunteers, well, back like in 2010, when I was working next door for the law office, I used to maintain the beds out in front. And a lady, a secretary, I believe, was maintaining that garden a little bit, and there was a flag up from a wounded warrior. I think it came from DC. We replaced the flag, and ever since then, me and the volunteers added a bunch of perennials, plants, and I've tried to maintain the lawn out front of that little garden and raise and lower the flag, replace the flag numerous times. It's just a pleasure. It's a nice little garden. I've added a lot of plants and flowers to it, and thank you all for letting me do that.
Yep.
Thank you, Mark.
Well, it's a great backdrop for the monument, too.
Yeah.
You know, I think it really makes the whole section look really nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's all that we had,
Okay.
that we had to have you answer some things for.
All right.
So,
If I can just add, I just thought of something
Sure.
on the siphon, and then, but just
Sure.
to respond.
Absolutely.
Mr. Thompson, so there was a Pocket Park committee that was working, and you know, as it pertained to the select board, you know, Renee was real good about coming regularly to give us updates on how the project was coming, and you know, of course, she had unanimous support from the board throughout this project. And several locations were discussed, and ultimately this was the one that was proposed and approved by the board. And you know, and I attended the ceremony several Saturdays ago. And was honored and privileged to have been able to give some opening remarks. And Mark, I wish I had known that you were doing that, but I did not know, so I apologize for that. But certainly at the next select board meeting, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank you publicly for the work that you've done there. So
Thank you.
thank you for bringing that up to my attention, Mr. Thompson. On the siphon, Mr. Chair, if I may, because of the work that the town engineer, Paul Vlasic, while he was serving as interim Public Works Director, when he negotiated the two lump sum agreements for the two phases, I just wanted to remind folks that this extra work that is needed is included in that, so there is no extra
Right.
cost to the project.
right. All right, thank you.
Thanks.
So, I just want to make a quick comment, and it goes to Mark too, but you know what? There's a lot of people that just kind of fly under the radar and do things and, you know, don't ask for any credit, don't ask for anything. And Mark has been one of those with that garden out front there, so thank you, Mark.
And not just the garden,
No, there's a lot.
throughout the
Well,
parkway.
yes.
Yeah, throughout the parkway.
Yeah.
It's probably time to trim that tree again too, so the flag doesn't get caught.
I did it early this spring.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so let's get back to the agenda. So we need to pick a chairperson and vice chairperson because we missed the meeting last month. I'll open that up to any discussion.
I'd make a nomination for you as chair.
Second?
And I will accept that. Well, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And I will accept that. And I will make a nomination for Darius for vice chairperson again.
Second?
All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Okey-doke. Is there any other public comment? Okay, because Mark, you are on the agenda, like I had said. All right. We need to approve the minutes of the 3:20 joint meeting with the trustee of trust funds. That, Darius, that was you and myself?
Right.
I had sent you those. Did you note any errors or omissions? Actually, we did get some from Peter also, so, and they were,
They were in there, so.
yeah, they were very good, so. Did you note any errors or omissions?
Nothing else than what was identified by Peter.
Then I move that we accept the minutes of the joint meeting with the trustee of trust funds on March 20th, 2024.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okey-doke. And then the minutes of the trustee meeting for February 21st. Did anybody note any errors or omissions in those?
No.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes as read.
I'll move that.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion accepted, so those minutes are approved. The next, actually, the next one is just, again, a placeholder. Nothing will really happen with any planting down there until that construction gets done.
I've got a couple
With the-
beautiful winter third viburnums though.
Okay, great.
So whenever you deem appropriate, we can pop them in.
Do we, I mean, do we want to really put them in now, or do we want to wait until they're pretty well done with down there?
I think we can wait, I guess.
Do we have any king tides coming in?
Well, we're gonna eventually. So,
Right.
So they're gonna have to,
Whenever they go in, it should be fine.
yep. Maybe we should try to get it in sooner rather than later, while we've still got some moist weather. I mean, could you and I get together some afternoon and just it probably wouldn't take us an hour to do it.
Yeah, let's do that, because that is going to have some nice fall color and all,
Yeah.
those plants. So yeah, let's,
And
is that okay?
Yeah, that's
We
fine.
can-
Just what afternoon, let me know if I can help.
Mr. Chair, just so that I don't get in trouble with this, do I have to post this as a site walk or anything?
If we're installing something, we're not making a decision.
We won't talk.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just doing work, but
You know what?
it would be probably better to post it.
You know what? Yeah, we'll pick a day, and again, I just don't want to get in any challenges.
That, it
with
would
this.
probably be best. I'm sure you won't be discussing other trustee business, but.
No.
All right.
No, we're gonna talk about the select board.
Then I'll be sure to be there.
Oh, you wanna dig the holes?
Sure.
The next item, which I think actually we talked about a little bit at the joint meeting with the select board, was the flooding and the watering diapers. I know Mark had taken, I don't know, 3 or 4 that had washed away into the road. You picked those up. Dave said we can drop them off at his house. And I think there was a couple more two more on 2 of the trees. And the concern there was, they were filled with brackish water, and we didn't really want that water to be draining down into that plant material. So And we did talk about the flooding a little bit and some ideas, at least to get the conversations going.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a real head scratcher, because the ability to contain that, it would have to extend so far in both directions.
Yeah,
And like we talked about too, the downstream effect
right,
of channeling that additional water
right,
can aggravate problems on other properties.
right. No, and I agree with that part of the conversation too.
I don't know if there is a solution.
Yeah,
Outside of anything that can, an example, peat, right? Peat bogs, they absorb a lot of water before it rises, but they can contain a lot and they can release a lot. Is that something that could be done in conjunction with to make it a little more absorbent or create a little bit of a barrier?
Well, Kristen had an idea, we were just batting some thoughts around that once the siphon project is done, potentially opening that lagoon up and to allow the water more areas to disperse into. But again, I think the volume of water that's going to be down there is going to be so great, when it does flood,
Right.
that
It's really,
it's going to be very marginal what effect that would have.
Yeah.
It's a good passive idea. I just think that the needed capacity is so much greater.
I would agree. The lagoon looks big, but once you open that up and have the water go into there, it's not going to be that big.
and if you
So-
go further down towards Newfields, that whole wetlands area there,
Well, we could possibly be flooding Marksville,
Right.
so, I mean, that's
You might get a wet basement.
yeah,
the reality, so.
yeah.
I think it's worth, I know that we've brought it up to, with the select board and people with the town, and, the conversations have started, and that's really what we wanted to do.
And that's how it starts. I mean, it's not a solution that's going to be, discovered overnight. And
Right.
it's probably going to be, a short-term, mid-term, and long-term. I mean,
Right.
The city of Boston's going through the same thing.
Yeah,
I mean, that's when you build, on water, that's
Right.
what's going to happen. So I think that, to have the conversation and think of some short-term solutions, but this is not something that's going to be fixed
Right.
anytime soon.
right.
And/or if you look upstream, if the dam is removed, upstream, there's more water flow that can't be slowed down or regulated, or, so a lot goes into it.
Indeed.
Okay. Next one, Mark. It's the cleaning of the rock. You had brought that up back in March, I think.
These on?
Yes.
Yep. Oh, they're live.
Okay, Mark William Damsel, 10 Newfield Road again. Out at the far end of the parkway, I believe it was in 2011, we had a monument, a welcome to Exeter sign, a big stone. I've noticed in the past couple of years, the face of it that says welcome to Exeter with LY fish on it, it's not deteriorated, but it's kind of like blackened. So I went to Exeter Monuments here in Exeter, who originally helped with sandblasting and the painting and the etching and the, excuse me, the plaque that's on the top of, that says the date of Ambrose Swasey that donated the park to the town. I talked with Tara there at the Exeter Monument Works. She looked at it. She said we better off have it power washed. So I got a hold of Randy Daly, who runs and operates the Exeter Cemetery. And he gave me a number of a company here in Exeter. It's called Headstone Pros LLC. The owner is Michael Simon. I believe they're on Kingston Road. And I talked with a fellow that works for him. His name is Stan. I can't pronounce his last name.
That's okay.
He said he'd look at it. Shortly after, he got back to me and said he'd do it. They use a product that they use in a lot of cemeteries called D2. It's economically friendly, it's non-toxic, blah, blah, blah. And when he did get back to me, he said he'd do it for free, which I thought was very, very generous of him. He said, with the black lettering in it that says "Welcome to Exeter," he says if that gets destroyed or altered by the power washing, that he does that cleaning too, and he would clean the plaque on the top of the boulder too. I didn't want to just let him go down there and go ahead and power wash it without going through the right channels and the authority to let you guys know before someone was down there and just didn't know what was going on. But with you guys' permission, I'd like to get back with Stan and tell him it's a go.
I make a motion that it's a go.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Can we
Thank you.
recognize them a little bit for this somehow?
Yeah, it's Headstone Pros LLC. I can give you their address and their phone number if you want. I think they were doing it more of like a community relations type. Maybe, I'm not sure how long they've been in business. Maybe they're trying to promote their business as well. So it's Headstone Pros LLC. They're at 16 Kingston Road, Unit 3 here in Exeter. And their cell phone number, if anyone wants to get something like this done, it's 603-770-1404.
Mark, will you get that information to me so I can
Yes.
write a thank you note?
That would be kind,
when
yeah,
he's
I
all
can.
finished, and
Yep.
I'll forward that to the select board also. So
Just so that folks in town know when he's out there doing it, that
Yeah.
he's doing it.
Right.
I know you three know, but
right,
I just thought it was a really kind gesture, you know, it's
very much so.
Exeter resident helping the town, and
That's great.
the stone, it's still there, it's 6 tons, it's not going anywhere anytime soon, so I think just freshen it up, clean it up. Like I say, it's been about 12 years since it was installed, so it's overdue. I
Sure.
shouldn't say overdue, but it's time for it to get cleaned.
sure. Yeah, let's go ahead, Mark, and
Thank
like I
you.
said, if you would get that, if you can actually let us know too, so we can put that out. Maybe I can contact Bob and have him put it on the Exeter TV or something, so that at least people will kind of know if they're walking down there or something, and know what's going on.
Yeah,
It might be a good opportunity for Bob to take a picture of it now or video of it now, and then maybe show the progress of how it's
I
cleaned.
was just gonna say that,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think it's a good ecological way of how to clean something, and it brings attention to the fact that a lot of work goes into cleaning our headstones and the graves, so it's an important thing because it's part of our history, so.
I do believe they do a lot of work in the Exeter Cemetery here. And I do have a picture of
Before.
as it looks now, and I'll try and get a couple more before he starts and does it, and then I'll get an after picture too, because it will really, I think it's going to really brighten it up.
Excellent, thank you.
Great, thank you guys.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks for putting the work into that.
Great, thank you.
I actually, talking about the rock and all, I know you did the no dog
Right. And
things on the
They-
sidewalks.
I'll
Can you-
redo them.
Yeah, because I was down there the other day, and you can still see them a little bit, but,
This time I think they'll be hand painted,
okay. What,
a little thicker.
okay.
Can you get paint like the highway department uses?
So it's parking line paint. It's just that the initial thing, when I put it down, it got absorbed because of the.
'Cause there's
blacktop,
nothing
right.
there.
There's nothing there. So
Yeah.
the more that gets done, the better it will be. So I will take care of that.
Okay. And I did take care of those bolts that were sticking up out of that concrete pad.
Oh, yeah.
The concrete pad actually is an old lamp post pad. So the bolts were there, and the old wire's still there, which doesn't work, but I thought about asking the highway department to maybe pull that out, but not knowing where that wire went, I thought it was best just to cut those off and leave it there.
Yep.
So that's all taken care of. So, is there any other business to come?
You kept it to a half hour.
Is there any other business? Dave?
I'm done.
Motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Adjourn at 5:31, but I know this is after the fact. The next meeting will
Thank you
be
for
June
tuning in to
19th.
Exeter TV.
It's a holiday.
Exeter TV is the town's public
Juneteenth.
and government access
But we'll be
channel.
here.
Available on Comcast Channel 6.
Yes, Juneteenth, yeah,
Okay,
Town is closed.
right.
sorry, when I looked, I didn't even realize that. Okay,
We could do it the day before or day after.
okay,
I'd suggest work with Pam. and
Yep.
See if
Right.
you
Yeah.
come up with some dates.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'll have to
it's a
look
new-
and see.
It's not, it's an old holiday, but it's a new
No, you're
holiday.
right, and I didn't even think of it when I was, because,
Well, day before, well, this is just personal, but I'll have conservation that night.
yeah.
Right.
Well, I have to kind of work around,
What?
what else is meeting, so.
Right.
So you know what, I apologize, because I was looking at it after my technical difficulty last month, and just picked, oh, yep, it's June 19th, that's the next date.
Let me know when it is, and I'll put it on my calendar.
I will, thank you.
I'll check in with you about a date.
All right, thank you.
Congratulations to you, Ron, that's a great story.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Sharing.
Yeah,
Good to see you.
Good night.
all right.
Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast Channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.